Hey, what's up guys, this is Masterleaf here, and I'm back to do something a little bit different this time. It's going to be a first-person perspective VOD between myself and Unleashed, T-59 versus Blackhand. A very traditional matchup that I play, and Hydraulic is observing. He was the one who submitted the replay, which you can find on gamereplays.org. It was one of the only replays that made it to the popular replays tab in the last few weeks, and it features myself, so I thought to myself, well, why don't I VOD this? It hasn't received any, and it's unlikely to because I'm playing in it and I've most likely won the game. Anyways, I'll get to this game now. There's several things I want to talk about, and the first development here is the stasis chamber. I have made the stasis chamber, but with one minor difference in this game. I do not sell it off. I keep this stasis chamber in case Blackhand is going for an operation center to try and take it down. My tip spikes, which I will be capturing. I have opted to go for 3 engineers, I think. Oh no, just 2 engineers. No, 3 engineers. Sometimes I would make 2 because I know the 3rd engineer with advanced articulators would not make it there before the Cabals do, and it would get killed, so... But I do realize that now, and I'm sending my simulator to his Tiberium spike, and I'm going to capture that instead. I haven't noticed this yet, but my opponent has gone with a Black Disciple opening, and this could be problematic for my disintegrators. But luckily for me, I actually target the Black Disciple member first, so I get that member there, and then immediately that squad's effectiveness is reduced drastically. And really, I only lost 1 squad there, and if I hadn't have done that micro, it would have been much worse for me. Anyways, I've got my ref up still. My stasis chamber is there. I'm going to keep that in case I see an operation center, but I doubt he'll go for an op center. I'm just going to keep it there anyways, because I can't see his base. Okay, the buzz is coming into his base now, and this buzz is gonna reveal everything for me. And I'm stuttering a bit now. Yeah, he's selling a power plant. That's a cheap and easy way to stop this rush, but I'm forcing him to sell structures and buildings, which is good. That's exactly what I wanted him to do. I'm not aiming to kill a harvester, just keep these disintegrators alive and keep forcing him to spend money on defense. And as you can see, he's going to garrison that building there. He's not going to flame his own spike down, I know that for a fact. Instead, he's going to throw down a Pan of Nod and train a Saboteur. Anyways, I'm going for a Corruptor, and the reason for that is I have realized that he's retaken the spikes. He's got 2 spikes down here, and he went for Black Disciple opening, so I need something to de-garrison these structures, and Gunwalker with a buzzer ain't gonna quite fulfill that job for me, so I'm gonna go for a Corruptor. And I kind of guessed that he would try and defend his spikes, because Unleashed, he is a big spike lover. He really does. And I mean this, like going for the tip spikes. And I don't blame him, because they do play a massive role in this game. Whoever has control of the tip spikes for a more than a brief period of time generally will tend to win this game. So I realize that now, and I'm going to recapture these spikes as soon as possible, because I know I don't want my opponent being Blackhand to have such a big economic advantage. So I'm going to send my Corruptor down here, take out these Confessor Cabals, along with this one here. There are 4 bikes. Luckily for me, in the very split second, I decided that I should take out these Cabals, yeah, as you can see there, and that was just enough before the Corruptor was taken out. And he has got a buggy, more than 1 buggy, and I did build a cultist squad, because I was anticipating a buggy to come through this part of the map and intercept my assimilators, but I did build a cultist and was able to take that raider buggy, although I did not see this raider buggy here. And I'm going to put these assimilators into the structure for some protection and immediately de-garrison them, because the bikes are there, and I'm going to take out most of these bikes and capture the spike. So that was quite a good move by me. I was quite pleased with that, really. Taking the spikes away from Blackhand at this stage of the game is quite difficult, and I think we can all agree on that. But Scrin, you know, they have got the best de-garrisoning units in the game, and they've got the Corruptors, and they've also got Buzzers, so those Black Disciple Confessor Cabals aren't really a big problem. if you've got a corruptor or two. So yeah, I've got some disintegrators now, and we're going to move them up towards his base. He's going for raider buggies, and he's building a lot of power plants. He should really be expanding soon, but perhaps he thinks that I'm going to follow this up with some more disintegrator squads, and this is what I like to do, and he knows that. And I'm not really going for disintegrators, I'm actually going for cultists. I thought to myself, well, I've got some spare cultists lying around here, so why don't I just send them up and try and snatch some harvesters or two. Some harvesters, and that kind of worked out for me. I didn't really snatch them permanently, but I did delay his economy. And as you can see, I'm doing this as a distraction. These disintegrators here were just there to lure these buggies away from my cultists, which were coming in. I did have the buzzer swarm support power ready because I did know he was going to sell that power plant. And if I was paying attention here, I could take out this Confessor Cabal squad, and my disintegrators moving through the map in the middle could have easily destroyed a harvester there. But, as you can see, one of the cult squads got sniped down, and this harvester, I know I'm not going to have this harvester for long, so what I'm going to do is disrupt his economy and send his harvester down to this field, so he'll take a bit longer to reach his refinery. As you can see there, the harvester still got his move order to go down there, reversing to that field. And yeah, Unleashed correcting that now. He's going to harvest this field. And I still have the possession of all 3 spikes, so that was mainly a distraction. But I'm not going to have this map control for long, really. He's got raider buggies now. Those disintegrators got taken out easily. I didn't destroy any harvesters, although I did delay his eco. He's only got 3 harvesters by the look of things. And there's some bikes coming down here. Didn't see these bikes. I should have really saw them. I think I was suspecting there would be bikes there. I was questioning whether or not I should place the refinery, but I did anyways because I needed my build queue up to place an additional structures such as the portals. As you can see here, Colt is coming in to snatch some raider buggies, and this was actually a good move. This turned out to be pretty well for me. I was able to snatch those raider buggies and also take out the Cabal squads, and those corruptors are amazing against buggies. As you can see there, doing so much damage to the raider buggies. And I've built more cultists to counter the raider buggies, and the cultists along with the corruptors will make quick short work of these cultists. And I'm even going to micro them around the war factory to receive some repairs, because if you didn't know, Skrin can repair infantry around their warp sphere, as it's formerly known as. And those corruptors giving a hard time to those buggies, and they're all going to get taken out. As you can see, doing a lot of damage per second there. It's much better than gunwalkers and seekers, in my honest opinion. I think corruptors are the best unit against the raider buggies. And this was actually a mistake. I should not have sent these cultists down to the south, because I've essentially gave him back 3 buggies. I could have just sent them to my warp sphere and received some repairs all night, all day. But still, nevertheless, it's not over just yet. I've got a portal here, some harvesters. I've got a lot of harvesters. I've got about 6 harvesters. Unleashed is still behind in terms of economy, but he has reclaimed the spikes, because, you know, he is known to be a spike lover. And there's some raider buggies here. Going to try and take out this cultist squad. I missed healing that cultist member. That cultist member should have survived, because the cultist, if the corruptor, if you didn't know, can make infantry immune to, like, say 3 or 4 buggies, just a single corruptor. So I must have mismicroed there. So Unleashed is going to take out my 2 spikes, so he's on 3 spikes and I'm on 0. As I've mentioned, he knows the importance of spikes, and not many players really do in this game. And I think it does make a big difference if you have the spikes for a long period of time. See, he's got 3 spikes now and I'm on 0. But I do realize this, and I'm going to go for some more simulators and try and retake these spikes away from him. Was able to snatch 2 attack bikes, and those are bikes also of my own. Dealt some damage to his bikes. And I've got a lot of cultists now, so I've decided to transition into disintegrators, give some cannon fodder to those cultists. And if I have cultist disintegrator, then even the raider buggies would have a hard time in trying to thwart that kind of unit composition. But Here I didn't really see these bikes and buggies coming through the middle. Actually, I did I think I just saw it now, and I'm going to retreat my cultists and basically everything. It wasn't a Q move. Well, I didn't think it was a Q move because my buzzer's still there. And Unleashed, what are you doing in the meantime? You're going for bikes. He was continually going for bike buggy, but he did transition into tech. And the reason why is because I've got a lot of infantry, and he thought that tech would be the answer because he could spam his infantry defenses, but little does he know, he actually gave the map control to me. And as you can see there, the buggies were snatched by the cultists, possibly even more raider buggies could go down here. And this actually turned out to be in my favor because I was able to take 4 buggies, and he is forced to retreat because those bikes are really useless against disintegrators and cultists. So I've forced his bike buggy composition to go back to base, and I'm going to send some disintegrators down here. I was hoping to flank his south base with these disintegrators, but that didn't really work out for me because he sent his bikes down this alley of attack, and unfortunately my disintegrators were misplaced. I was totally out of position here, and I realized at the last second that I should be defending these harvesters. But what I do here is I send all my harvesters away from the tip field, trying to get them as near to the disintegrators for cover as possible. And I was able, luckily, to save all my harvesters by doing that move there. And some raider buggies getting destroyed in the middle of the map. And these corruptors, I have only got 2 corruptors here, but it's forcing his bike buggy to maneuver around and destroy those. But that's good because I've got these cultists and disintegrators. I could march into his his base and prompt a reaction here because I want him to build shredder turrets. I want him to camp up, and that's what he's doing. He's got charged particle beams now, and he should also have a secondary MCV deployed just outside his war factory. Perhaps he was afraid that I had a lot of infantry forces around the map, which I do have. I've got 3 groups. I've got 1 group here, 1 group here, and another group here, and also I have retaken the spikes from Unleashed, so I'm getting a fair amount of credits from this now. And also I should realize that the blue field is grown, and I'll send some harvesters there to leech some of that blue tip, give me a much needed cash boost. And something that I didn't really spot, I made a super weapon, a rift generator. So I made this 10 minutes. I was actually thinking ahead in this game. I was thinking, hey, well, Unleashed, he's known to be quite a turtle, if you know what I mean. He likes to build a large base and then mass a lot of units and then steamroll you. But he will make a large defense. He will make a lot of shredder turrets to ensure that you won't capture any of his buildings with the Prodigy. So I realized this now, and I'm going to go for a super weapon. And I said to myself, well, why not? I mean, it's the most powerful super weapon in the game, without a doubt. It does damage instantly and continuously over time. So yeah, we'll see how that turns out. And I've made it pretty early. It's only, what, 9 minutes into the game? But what I didn't notice was these attack bikes coming to destroy my tier 3, although I did mind control and normal mind control the bikes. But unfortunately I wasn't able to save that technology assembler, and that was not really good because the Redeemer now is heading straight for my base, and I need that text interrupt to get some units to deal with that Redeemer. I was able to snatch this flame tank, which really failed to do anything against those cultists. And I've mined a large portion of this blue field. Should have some harvesters returning with some blue tip. That will give me a lot of money. So, I mean, it looks like Unleashed is ahead with these 2 refineries here, but I'm being allowed to leech this blue tip, which will easily put me on par or even ahead of Unleashed. Now Unleashed, luckily for me, he went for the flame tank. He took the bait and he went for that flame tank. But He's gave me time to build a warp chasm and train a hexapod, and I need that hexapod out now. I do have the temporal wormhole, so if this gets desperate, if the Redeemer's coming too close to my base and I'm not ready for it, I could always use that support power to slow him down. Just having a drink here. Oh yeah, right. So he uses the rage generator. This is really good awareness by Unleashed. He used it right at the perfect second, and he was able to take out my tripod and prodigy, which was fairly crippling at that stage, really. I'm being forced to defend now, which isn't really what I wanted to do, and I did send 2 assimilators up there because I trained 2 which were unneeded, so I tried to capture one of his refineries, but he's built a lot of defenses, so that failed. And another prodigy comes out. I'm going to use an area mind control, quickly take out those attack bikes and teleport a tripod into the fray. Try and AMP this Redeemer for as long as possible. I need my units to go in and destroy that Redeemer. It is a dual flame Redeemer, and if that is allowed to go into my base, that will destroy everything in a moment's notice. And those disintegrators aren't really good against, they aren't really ideal against the Redeemer, but I do have a tripod here to EMP, and unfortunately that EMP from the tripod also emptied my hexapod. So that was a kind of a two-edged sword. And more raider buggies coming in. I don't think he's got anything else to reinforce. Yes, he has. He's got more buggies coming in. He wants to try and, his aim here is to EMP all my vehicles so his Redeemer can come in unchallenged and destroy all my structures here. And as you can see, he thinks he's won. He's calling in the one clicks. He's got this Tib vein coming to damage my technology assembler. Doesn't quite destroy it. My warp chasm also is still safe and sound. This Redeemer, it's going to come out of EMP and it's going to destroy that tripod. Rage generator goes off. That's the second rage generator so far, and he's going to crush this tripod. So really, I'm allowing this Redeemer to do much more damage than what it should have been doing. And I tried to capture that husk there, but Unleashed too good for that. He's able to take it out quickly, selling those power plants off there because I need to get a good line of sight on that Redeemer. So for my tripods, I need to take it out immediately because I want to defend my rift generator. My rift generator, speaking of which, has 2 minutes on the cooldown. I need that rift generator out immediately. Goes into the, I try and repair my technology assembler at the last second, and also Unleashed being cocky, using the one click on my refineries, which isn't actually a bad idea. And I've also mined all the blue. So Unleashed, he is looking to be in a good position here, but the thing is, I've got this rift generator which will keep me in the game, and I've got several tripods, and he's only got raider buggies, so he needs to get some units, some offensive units out immediately. Perhaps he could go for some infantry or something. And I realize there's a tripod husk there, which I will retake. Also got the tip spikes. Unleashed is trying to flame the tip spikes down, but I'm going to send a corruptor down there because I know that I'm kind of dry on Tiberium, so I need to try and retain these spikes for as long as possible so I can get a good economy, or enough to stay in the game. And as you can see, Unleashed has got quite a bit of macro going on here. He's got a lot of war factories. He's probably going to go for some beam cannons, and beam cannons against hexagon tripods is probably the best thing he can do. As you can see, he's got 3 beam cannons, and that force will go up exponentially the more beam cannons he has. So if he's got like 6 or 7, then that's quite a bit of trouble for me, really, because my hexapod will have to make a retreat from that. And these EMP buggies also are in huge numbers. My units would not get very far into his base. And accidentally trained a Ravager squad. I was meant to train a Prodigy, but my finger accidentally pushed F6, which is something I do often, and I train a Ravager instead of a Prodigy, which is F7. So yeah, that was a mistake. Wasn't really meant to make that. So I've got 12 seconds on the super weapon, and I've also let this field regrow, which is going to help me now. And Unleashed, he knows that my super weapon countdown is almost up, so he's going to move he's trying to split his units up is the best he can. I do have an army, but not as great as his, so I'm going to use this super weapon to equalize it. And as you can see, that the rift generator is ready, and I get the perfect shot up on this rift generator. You'll be surprised at how much I destroy. And I'm gonna try and just mine this blue, the remaining of the blue tip here. I don't want that to grow much in case Unleashed is able to harvest it. And immediately I use the temporal wormhole just so these units can't escape the rift generator, and immediately use the rift generator, and boom! Takes out all of his beam cannons, and he's even able to take out those, plus damage the Redeemer. And the EMP buggy is now coming in to EMP the tripods, gets 2 tripods and the hex pod, but the thing is all the beam cannons are destroyed, so I'm not really bothered about the Redeemer anymore, except this hex pod. It is low on health and it is exposing its rear armor. If this Redeemer decides to shoot this hex pod, it's going to do a lot of damage to it, and I may be forced to use the phase on this hexapod. And my hexpod just barely hanging on here. There is several beam cannons, but my hexpod is phased. But Unleashed is not going to let this one go. He's trying to destroy all my units here and now. There is one devastated warship out for me, and I do have double ref here, so my economy is still, it is pretty good now. Plus I have the Tiberium spikes, which is even better. So these beam cannons doing a lot of damage to my units. They are good again for concentrated fire on high-tech units such as the Annihilator tripod and the hexapod. They are probably the best counters to those units. So it wasn't a mistake by Unleashed to train beam cannons. They are actually very, very good against these units. And as you can see, that hexapod is about to go down. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to save that hexapod, so the phase field was kind of a waste of money, really, when you think about it, because that hexpod went down in the first place. And what is Unleashed going for? He's going for beams and raider buggies, which is probably the best he can go for, because I'm going for infantry, devastated warships, tripods. I've got pretty much a mix of everything here, except an epic unit, and an epic unit is what he will be making. But I realized he sold his Redeem engineering facility, so he's going to have to rebuild that. He sold it to get the Black Hand squad. Probably thought he won the game at that point. But that's good, because that's going to give me time to get my Warp Chasm up so I can counter that Redeemer. And as you can see already, he's got a lot of beam cannons. And I've got cultists and a prodigy here, and that's going to be quite a scary force for Unleashed. But as you can see, the cult is taking out, the beam cannons are taking out a lot of those cultists, and even the harvester, which Unleashed regain control of, got destroyed as well, because those beam cannons don't stop firing until their target is destroyed, be it ally or foe. So yeah, what's happening now? It doesn't look like I've got my Warp Chasm up just yet. I think I was aware that Unleashed sold his Reclamator hub, because I sent a Corruptor in here to try and take out the Tib Chem plant, but that failed. And I'm moving my harvesters back to base. I did build a growth accelerator because I needed my Tib to regrow. I've got all my harvesters on stop at the moment because I need that harvester, the growth accelerator, to regrow my Tiberium. And the longer you allow the Tib to regrow with the growth accelerator, the more Tiberium crystals you'll get over time. Because they start as seedlings and then they mature into larger crystals and then they multiply. So you want to stay away, keep your harvesters away from the Tiberium for as long as possible, just so you allow it to regrow. So yeah, he's got a ton of beam cannons, he's got a ton of raider buggies, still going for beam cannons. And I have some devastated warships. And devastated warships I built because I was really expecting him to go infantry, but he didn't really go for infantry, he went for beam cannons. But still, the devastated warships will be good against those. They are artillery units, and beam cannons, they are artillery units. So both counter, the devastated warships do counter the beam cannons. But I would have preferred to have gone something else, to be honest. My super weapon, by the way, it is on 2 minutes and 25 seconds, so I have to hold for that amount of time before I can use that once again. And Unleashed, he is almost depleted on Tiberium. He has not allowed himself to regrow this tib here, which is a mistake by him. On the other hand, I have a growth accelerator, and as you can see, it's paying dividends now. I've got a lot of tib crystals on that field, and I could harvest that now. I immediately realize I need to harvest it because I'm in a desperate situation. Unleashed has got a lot of beam cannons and raider buggies. If I need to pour everything I've got into this defense, because I need to hold for approximately 1 minute and 50 seconds. Unfortunately for me, I did lose these cultist members to a rage generator because Unleashed used the rage gen at the right time. He's pretty good with that redeemer in this game, caused me a lot of damage. He moved his army back here because I had a raider buggy under my control. Perhaps he thought I had more units trying to flank him, but unfortunately that was not the case. And this harvester barely will escape. Not that it matters because I've got a lot of harvesters anyways, more than really what I need, but it's the experience that counts, the redeemer. I don't want that to rank up. And I've got some devastated warships firing from a far distance. He might get something here. There is 1 or 2 severely damaged beam cannons, but yeah, it's going to take a lot of volleys from those devastated warships to destroy those beam cannons. And I need to use a temporal wormhole because the raider buggies are coming in, and just at the right time there. I've got some cultists and tripods, and my hexpod is just chilling back here. I don't want it to engage those beam cannons because it will go down in a split second. So instead I'm going to send in my cultists because the raider buggies aren't really effective against cultists and if you micro them accordingly. And I do try and teleport my cultists back to base, which was interesting move by myself. I was lucky there. And Unleashed, he should definitely make a push towards my base. I've only got 17 seconds left on my super weapon. If I did not have that super weapon here, I would have lost for certain. There's no doubt about it. And I do have my prodigy still, so I could make an epic defense if I really had to, but I doubt I would have been able to hold this without my rift generator. And he's sending in his beam cannons now, but it's too late, and my rift generator comes in and it destroys every single one of the beam cannons and raider buggies. And Unleashed, he is a fool to let that happen twice, and that rift generator really did pay off in this game, destroying 2 of Unleashed's armies. Not that he could have done much about it really. I mean, it's so entrenched in my base. I've got it in a position where if you attack from this side it's the same, and if you attack from this side it's the same. It's just it's between both choke points, if you know what I mean. And Unleashed, I don't think he has much really to defend off against the push I'm about to commence on him. I don't think I do have some raider buggies here I could send in to scout him. He doesn't have much. He's only got 1 war factory. Didn't go for infantry, but he may have to go infantry, although I do have devastated warships, and that pretty much nullifies the threat of infantry automatically, since I've got cultists as well, which can easily pick off individual squads if I had to. And even the prodigy. The prodigy, by the way, it does only last, the area mind control on the prodigy only lasts 6 seconds on vehicles, on infantry I should say, as opposed to the vehicles which it lasts 20 seconds. So be sure to use the prodigy's area mind control on vehicles instead of infantry, because it is a lot less effective on the infantry. And these devastated warships are going to pretty much seize this base of Unleashed. He hasn't got much to respond to this, except raider buggies and a redeemer, which is going to come out now. He's probably going to go for some artillery of his own just to remove my drone ship, which has expanded already. And I'm going to place down a refinery because I need to get as much tib as I possibly can, because I know that Unleashed, he is not going to allow me to make a comeback if I lose my foothold in the middle of the map here. And yeah, the Conyard does go down. He did have a Conyard there, but he does have a backup Conyard. There is one in his base, so he's had 2 MCVs all this game. and my Devastator warship's causing a lot of problems for Unleashed. And he's beginning to go with infantry now, but it's just too late for him. And even the Spectres is going to get captured by these cultists, and the Saboteurs I think are going into the Redeemer. He's trying to put 2 Saboteurs in his Redeemer, and I don't blame him because he needs to have the most effective Redeemer in terms of combat effectiveness, and that would be probably the best bet in this scenario, to go for 2 Saboteurs just so it can repair at a faster rate. And this Hexapod causing so much problems for Unleashed. I've got 2 Mechapeds force firing the Hexapod, and the reason I chose Mechapeds is because they only cost 14 seconds to train and they reach the Hexapod quicker. But if you develop the Mechapede into a full Mechapede with toxin segments, then it would be equivalent to 2 Corruptors, just over 2 Corruptors, and for the price tag of $2,200, I think that's a bargain, really. When you think about it, the Corruptors, they cost $2,000 for 2 Corruptors, but the Mechapede can reach its destination a lot sooner. So I was able to get some repairs on that Hexapod, which otherwise would have been delayed if I had gone with Corruptors. And as you can see, Unleashed is in a lot of trouble. I don't think he has much here to stop my units. Maybe he could go for some flame tanks and go into my base, but I think he is just too... I don't know, what's the word? He's too focused on my units through the middle here, and I realized that, and he's just paying too much attention to my units. He shouldn't be doing this. He should instead find other ways to win, like maybe flame tank spam. And yeah, this Redeemer, it is kind of damaged, but against my Hexapod and Tripod support with Devastator warships and the Prodigy, I don't think he will stand much of a chance, really. Even you as the viewers would know this by now. And as you can see, I'm just toying with him at the moment, going for the crush and then immediately coming back to base, teleporting it back. It's a quick and easy way to deal with artillery units. If you're a Traveller player, just put a Prodigy inside the Hexapod, teleport onto the artillery, and then teleport back with your Commando. That's a cheap and easy way to deal with Juggernauts and Spectres. And this Redeemer here, it is trapped. It's got no support really, and it will get destroyed here, and it will go down. And the Rift Generator, it has not been destroyed during this game, and it has got 1 minute left before I fire it for a 3rd time. So the Rift Generator did do a spectacular amount of damage, and I'm going for Cultists because I know Unleashed likes to go for flame tanks in this situation, and rightfully he is going flame tanks. So I'm making these Cultists in advance just in case he's got something like a flame tank coming up from the rear. I can easily capture it and use it for my own good. So Unleashed, he's going for rocket spam, desperately trying to hold on here, but it's just pointless really. I've got too many units here, and even a Hexapod which has 1 rank on it and 30 seconds left on the cooldown. Unleashed trying to get to my base with his units as soon as possible. He's got flame tanks marching everywhere over the map, but really it's all over for him. He had excellent chances in this game, but luckily for me, I did make the most of his mistakes, and that's how you really win against Black Hand as Traveller 59. You have to take advantage of your opponent and his wrongdoings, and use every advantage you can to win the game. And I'm even going to finish this off. You know, insult to injury, I'm going to use the Rift Generator on his last building, and there it goes. Unleashed has been defeated. So yeah, that was my first person perspective video on this game that I played against Unleashed. If you really want to watch the replay, you can find it on gamereplays.org. Just search for the members, the popular replays tab. You should find it there. So anyways, we'll go to the stats here. Units wise, it appears as though I had less units, but really I had a lot of disintegrator squads, so I'm not sure how accurate this is. Really, at the 10-minute mark I should have had way more units. I had at least 100 disintegrator squads, well, 100 disintegrator members. I'm not sure how Black Hand are able to mass this many units. I really don't know. And this is totally inaccurate at the end. Apparently I had 0 units. 0 units. This really is bugged. For T-59, this really is bugged. And I made the super weapon at the 10-minute mark, something you rarely see. But anyways, as I said, that was extremely, that did extremely pay off for me. Unleashed did make a decoy super weapon. Maybe he could have made a super weapon of his own, but questionable if it's worth going for a nuke, as it gives away its location for a split second, and then you can easily move your units out of the way of it. So it's nowhere near as effective as the rift generator, which can hit units and do damage immediately after you cast it. So favorite unit by me was disintegrators, and for Unleashed it was the Raider buggy. Kill to death ratio was 2.07 for me and 0.44 for Unleashed. And yeah, that was a pretty good game. Anything else to mention here? Unleashed, we were both on par pretty much the whole game for economy, except in the last 10 minutes he was slightly ahead of me, but that rift generator just totally blown him there. His army got demolished by that one click, and I thought that was an excellent game, if you ask me. One of my best games, to be honest. And yeah, so if you thought this video was entertaining, then don't forget to like it. And I'm sorry for not bringing any videos as of late. There really hasn't been much to bring videos off, except maybe produce some of my own content. I may bring some additional first-person videos and perspective VODs in the future, so please stay tuned. Anyways, this is Masterleaf, and peace out. Masterleaf, and peace